This is real tech. Okay. How am I?
Cut off.
Do you want to come do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Do you love my tripod? I just hold it up. Okay. So today I wanted to talk about the first episode and the second episode. So we had Sick and Tired, which was a double episode, and about Dorothy getting diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome and the process of her going through the medical system and being kind of just dismissed and pushed aside, and her concerns being written off as her being a woman and because of her age. And the second episode that we saw was the accurate conception, where Blanche's daughter, Janet, wants to be artificially inseminated and go to a sperm bank. And the issue that I think gets brought up in these episodes that is timely, because this was the end of the 80s, was the idea of patient advocacy. And I think that this is a thing that the girls are kind of bringing this to the fore, but we really saw patient advocacy kind of come into the greater consciousness around this time because of the work of ACT UP, or the AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power, and AIDS Action Now here in Toronto. And really, we have so much of a debt to this idea of being able to tell our doctors that we know what we want to do with our bodies, and we know, Sophia actually in the episode from last week talks about how she's the first to know. If something's going wrong in her body, she's the first to know. And she says it as a joke, but it's also so actually accurate that it's funny that we think of it as a joke, but it's actually but this is actually the thing, is you are the first to know what's going on in your body. So we also, not to say, this is one of the critiques of ACT UP, is that they pretend, or gay men in general kind of pretend that we invented activism when we actually just borrowed strategies from Black liberation, civil rights movement, the patient psychiatric survivor, mental health movement, and disability movements, and also the feminist movement with has anybody here read Our Bodies Ourselves? Anybody know hands?
Yes, obviously.
Some bodies, some selves, apparently, may have been read. But I think it's important for us to think about how Dorothy's monologue in the end of what the fuck was that? Sick and Tired, in the end of that episode, how she gets feels so empowered because of that moment of solidarity with Dr. Budd's wife, where she says, "Shut up, Lewis," and then does this beautiful head roll, eye slur, down. And then the camera kind of it's almost like they put 7 extra frames in there just for her to be slowly I fucking hate you. But it's this beautiful moment of sisterhood solidarity, where it's Dorothy's experience as a woman as an older woman who's being dismissed by the male predominantly medical system, is being kind of validated. So she's able to say "fuck you," and it gets bolstered in this moment to further challenge Dr. Budd and say, as angry as I was and as angry as I ever be, I still wish you a better doctor than you were to me. So still has this this idea of solidarity, and through the bolstering that she gets from the other actress or the other character. But we also see that there's still this generosity of not wanting to say "fuck you, I wish you were dead and I would dance on your grave," and piss in your weeping mother's ears as a thing that you would do if you were angry, because that's a thing that I've done when I've been angry. But she offers that I hope that you get better medical care. And this is one of the things that has kind of stuck with me for so long, is this idea of how do we tell our doctors what our realities are as queer people, and how do we feel validated to actually move forward. And I have been working, or was working, in the HIV response and the harm reduction movements for the last 15, 20 years, in various capacities. And I had this amazing mentor, David Ho, who was one of the founders of the AIDS Committee of Ottawa, and he's since retired from the AIDS movement, but because he's 8 fucking 100 years old, and not dead though. but very AIDSy, like real AIDSy. And so I'm AIDSy, so I'm allowed to say that. And like real AIDSy. And he told me when I was developing a program for the Toronto People with AIDS Foundation, and he was my mentor, kind of helping me build this program to support like the sexual health of gay men living with HIV in Toronto. And he said, how can I tell my doctor, like, if I can't tell my doctor how much I love getting fisted, then how am I going to have a conversation with my doctor if something went wrong? Right? No, but real. Like, if I don't feel comfortable enough to tell my medical professional or like my medical team or care team what the fucking realities of my queer existence are, then what happens when something is not working out or is not right? How do I make that, now that I'm in a place of vulnerability, how do I identify and articulate that? And that is a thing that we saw kind of happening in this episode, Sick and Tired, is Dorothy's experience is being completely dismissed and devalued because of her age and because of her gender. And we have seen queers, we have seen women, we have seen people of color, specifically black folks, taking these on kind of head first. Have people heard about like NADA, the like acupuncture for like stress and addiction and a bunch of dependence and like a bunch of other things? It's actually developed in the Bronx. And like a bunch of decades ago, was developed like with the Black Panthers to be able to like be taught in like a weekend. You don't have to be an acupuncturist to be able to do it, but like it's an incredible medical procedure, like paramedical procedure that's actually about like communities taking their health into their own hands. So I just wanted to say like this was a beautiful kind of example of the girls really fagging out on this, and like thanks to the girls for it. Let's just have another episode.